You're a fraud.
You're a liberal hack.
Well, we'll just start. I've kind of stopped doing the intro, so.
Okay.
Hi, Alysse.
Hi.
Welcome back. My sister Alysse has joined me today for
By popular demand.
By popular demand, that's right. I have had lots of fan mail saying, or fan female, because they're like, get rid of those two guys. And fortunately, Nicholas is a father and is always making up excuses about, oh, I've got to look after the baby. Oh, my wife's tired. Shut up.
Yeah, no, babies famously can look after themselves.
Yeah, he's 6 months old now. Watch a fucking movie, Nicholas. He's not going anywhere. And Nick hasn't seen either of those two movies that we're going to talk about. And you have, because I forced you to, or I recommend.
Yeah, it was a lot of peer pressure, I feel.
And so it's Trap and Rebel Ridge. And I guess we'll talk about Trap first.
Yep.
Did you like Trap?
I still haven't decided if I liked it.
You and everybody else. I feel like nobody's willing to admit that it's a great movie. I am. I'm brave enough to say that it's a great movie.
Okay. I want to bring up, I've purposely not looked up how people feel about it because I wanted to form my own opinion. So I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, okay. Well, look it up, see what you think. Letterboxd has, I think it's sitting at about 2.5.
Because I didn't want it to influence my opinion.
That's smart.
It's not amazing. It seems to have like 50, just above 50% on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. So not great.
Yeah, and it's about exactly 2.5 on Letterboxd, I think. I feel like this happens a lot with M. Night Shyamalan movies, where
I'd like to point out that I don't think I've ever seen one.
You haven't seen any of them? Like,
I mean, maybe,
Sixth
but
Sense, Signs.
I might have watched Sixth Sense a very long time ago.
Okay, well, he is, we'll say, a controversial director in some ways because critics seem to hate him, you know, like The Happening. Right. I don't know if you heard of that one.
I've heard of it. I have not seen it. Yeah, look, none of these movies look familiar.
Yeah, well, remember the Avatar movie? Not the blue guys, but the one that was based on the Last Airbender cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
And people fucking hated that one too. So critics hate his movies and some audiences seem to hate his movies, but they all make money. And I mean, Sixth Sense and Signs in particular are kind of beloved, and people always talk about he's declined. I don't think he's declined, but people, I don't know, he rubs people the wrong way. I mean, we've been into this. We did a deep dive on M. Night Shyamalan, so I won't relitigate the point that I think a lot of the media is racist, and particularly were in the 2000s. And you always had people saying shit like M. Night Shyamalan a ding dong and like making fun of him in that way.
Right.
But anyway, this kind of happens with M. Night Shyamalan, where like this time film Twitter convinced themselves that they do actually like him, and they're looking back at all these movies. Yeah, after this big build up of turning around on M. Night Shyamalan, actually having like a genuine reclamation or like reappraisal of him as a filmmaker, then they all just turned around and watched, I'm not saying this is you, this is like film enthusiasts. Then they turned around and watched his new movie Trap, and they have all the same reactions that they've had for every other movie that he's made, which is they complain about his dialogue or the pacing of his movies or the unbelievable plot. They get hung up plot a lot, and they kind of assume that he's being stupid. Like with The Happening, they make fun of it for like, oh, the trees are going to kill us. But like, it sounds stupid if you make it sound stupid.
That's
it's like,
that's a fair argument. Yeah.
The planet coming to kill all of humanity because we've treated it so badly is like a really interesting premise. Anyway, so we won't like again get into all of the M. Night Shyamalan issues, but with Trap, I think it may have. Yeah, it's a tricky watch, and I'll explain a bit more. But do Get what I mean?
No. Why do you think it's a tricky watch?
Okay, because for me, I was expecting there to be some kind of twist where Josh Hart.
Okay, well, I expected that too because, like, I don't know M. Night Shyamalan movies, but I know that he is known for twists. So I was like, I can't, because when I watch movies, I don't try and figure out what's happening. I'm there to have a good time. And so I'm like, I can't wait for this twist because I'm not going to see it coming. And then there wasn't really a twist.
I wasn't expecting a twist in the classical sense of M. Night Shyamalan movies where it's like, oh, Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
Right.
But I was expecting a twist on the premise in the sense that I'm like, this movie can't just be about a serial killer who's a dad. It has to be like that there's some twist where he's actually a good guy. Like where there were theories floating around, like maybe his daughter is a vampire, and so he's like collecting victims for her to feed on.
Right.
Stuff. He's like actually a good dad, or like, but no, he's just like a horrible murderous guy. And so when I was watching it, not quite in the spoilers just yet, but when I was watching it and then he starts just committing horrific acts, I was like, oh,
probably not a good guy.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to like this guy, and maybe I don't like this movie because.
Well, I think you're a little bit supposed to like him because they obviously is his name Josh Hartnett. Hartnett, yeah. Look, I'm clearly not a film buff. I've recognized him. I have no idea what he's been in. But he's a handsome guy. Like I think you're supposed to kind of a little bit be like, oh, like hot people get away with shit. So like I like him a little bit.
Yeah, he's playing into type for sure, where it's like they're taking the fact that he's like a handsome, heartthrob, beloved kind of guy.
And also like playing a doting dad.
Yeah, exactly. He is, and that's the thing about his character. He is actually a good father in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously they're doing that intentionally. That's why he hired Josh Hartnett. And I do like that Josh Hartnett is playing it like sort of completely without, he's not holding back. It's not a very complimentary performance to him in some ways, as in it doesn't, because a lot of actors can be like quite protective of their image, famously, The Rock won't lose a fight. Tom Cruise has only ever played a bad guy like one time in his entire career.
I didn't even know these things.
Actors can be quite protective of how they're portrayed, right? Because you don't want to be, like, you can get caught, you can be typecast, you can just have the audience see you in a way that's negative.
Yeah, but also knowing that The Rock doesn't lose in any fights makes me not like him a little bit.
For sure. Well, we're not supposed to know that, I think. It's like...
Right. Someone just, like, noticed over time.
Yeah, and also maybe it was revealed by, like, some guy who was working... It was like, he was a prick. And so his like, stupid thing he does for his contracts. So I, commend Josh Hartnett for what is, like, he's it's a quite an ugly character in a lot of ways. And he... Sure. Totally embodies it and has fun with it in a lot of ways. But yes, I was initially, while watching it, I wasn't sure whether I was liking the movie when he starts. It was okay, so it's not really a spoiler, but like when he does, as a distraction, he throws a bottle of water in the deep fryer and it explodes, boiling hot oil over a woman who is horribly burned. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I don't know how I feel about the movie. I don't know. I obviously don't like the character anymore. I don't want him to escape, but then is there somebody else to root for? Like now there's nobody really to root for. And I think the movie's just kind of playing around with it because by the end, I kind of did want him to escape and I really like the character now by the end, as in like he's not a good guy, but I like the complexity of his character and I like how kind of delightfully evil he is. Like there is that scene where he is kind of, I guess we might just get into spoilers, just watch it's on demand now. So, but when he, at the end of the movie, when he's finally after the whole movie of like escaping the concert and then escaping the cop at his house and escape, And all that stuff's really fun as well. Like when he's changing outfits and doing little distractions to get away from the cops. That's all really fun. And then at the end, when it's like he's finally locked away in the police van being taken off to prison, and he's snuck a little bicycle spoke in, and he's handpicked his handcuffs. He's lockpicked his handcuffs. And he starts laughing to himself, like in a really deliciously evil kind of way. And it reminded me of not exactly Hannibal Lecter, but that kind of feeling you get with Hannibal Lecter, where it's like, he is a bad guy. Like he murders people.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. And he shouldn't do that. But at the same time, I find him quite charming.
He's fun to be around.
Yeah, he's a fun guy. What can I say? He's a fun guy. And like, I really wanted him to escape by the end, and he did. And I look forward. I mean, it's kind of doubled its budget. So I would like to see more movies with him. Like maybe in the next one they capture him halfway, and then he's in prison doing a Hannibal Lecter.
Well, I guess that you could definitely have a sequel after like the way it ended. See, I found where you were like rooting for him almost a little bit. I was kind of just like, I don't want him to escape because it's so illogical that he has escaped this many times already. Like I just kept on getting so annoyed. So like it's pretty, like when he does escape the arena, it's pretty unbelievable. Like it's pretty ridiculous that he was able to do it. Like, which is not, that's not a huge problem because like he's a serial killer that's been doing this for years, so he's probably pretty good at getting out of situations. But then like it's just over and over again. Like you have the like he gets out. Well, he like pretends to be like in the so first of all he tunnels out of his house. I feel like that's one of them, and then
that's one of them. He pretends to be
that's like in a SWAT uniform.
He's in a SWAT uniform,
and he kidnaps the singer.
Yeah, he's wearing like a cafe apron, and he's pretending to be part of the cafe.
Yeah.
And when he's walking through like the entire like a crowd of police officers, and he's like, "Oh, hey guys."
Okay, but I actually I loved that part. Like the stuff.
And I think movies, it's a genre movie, right? You got to like. It's realistic, but it's not too realistic. It's like it wants to have fun with the
and I love that where he was like I don't know, like Terry was supposed to refill the sugar or something, like, and then he pulls out the donuts. Like I loved all that. That was great. But like by the time we're out of the arena, I'm like, okay, he's just gonna keep escaping. Like he dresses in the SWAT uniform. Like he tunnels out of the house, then he dresses in the SWAT uniform and manages to kidnap the singer, and then
he's in the limousine, and then he changes into like a civilian outfit.
And then he gets out of the limo, and like the limo is surrounded, and I'm like, guys, he's obviously not in there. Like I don't look for these clues. I don't predict things, but I'm just like, okay, well, he's obviously not in there. And like when they finally catch him, and he's like, he takes the spoke out of the bike. I'm like,
don't let him do stuff.
Just don't let him do stuff. Yeah, you obviously wouldn't let the serial killer who's escaped several times do anything at all. Like, why is he picking up the bike? Like, I was so frustrated that I didn't root for him because I was just kind of like, well, it just doesn't make sense that he's escaped this many times.
I think I was just maybe too taken up with my enjoyment of these situations to. Not that it's nitpicky, but I wasn't feeling in the kind of nitpicking mood of I wasn't. Because if you're not thinking about that stuff and you just can't, I mean, it depends. Like, it happens to me all the time with movies I hate.
Yeah.
Movies I'm like not like. It's just like moments in the movie where it can turn. I think the moment it turns either way is when he does make the oil explode all over the woman. Like the first one where he like pushes the woman down the stairs.
Yeah,
I was okay with that. I was like, that's just kind of funny. I was like, maybe she's fine as well. That's a bit harmless. And then the second one, when he like horrifically burned the woman, that's when the movie almost lost me for a second, where I was like, I'm not enjoying this. This is dumb. What is this movie about? Yeah. But then I kind of like sat with that discomfort for like maybe 5-10 minutes and still wanted to give the movie the chance. And it did kind of win me back. And I think it made me realize what kind of movie it was being.
I just feel like there were too many moments, like even when he's like on the roof after the burn, and then he's just like
burned.
but like that was, I enjoyed that part where he was just like, thinking on the fly, but like
all that's great.
Then the guy's like, oh, do you have your card, whatever, and he just like pulls out the guy whose apron he has stolen, has his wallet in his apron, he just like has the card and it's the right card. It's just
so tense though, like it's like, because if he doesn't have the card in the wallet, then he's fucked. So he's just praying, and we're praying in a way for him to have the card. And I think the movie is like, he's lucky. That's the thing about his character.
Yeah,
his character is lucky over and over and over.
I guess it's good that he does run out of luck when he finally has to confess to the singer that he is the butcher, because he's like run out of options. He's like, okay, now I just need to get out of here. Like, I guess
kind of like in Rebel Ridge, where he's like, I ran out of plan. Yeah, and I love that as well.
Yeah, I also, hang on, there's other things that I want to complain about before I forget about them. One of my, I don't like true crime. I don't like
FBI profilers and that kind of shit.
Yeah, but just like, I'm not into, or even like fake crime that much. Like, yes, I like some, but like not like anything that's like gratuitous and gory. Like, I'm not interested.
Yeah, and I get that.
But the thing with this movie is there is no gore. There is no depiction of him doing murder. Like, he just, you see like a guy tied up and he threatens to kind of kill him via remote. Method. Yeah, but like, there's no, like, there's the only part of the performance that you kind of have to rely on to believe that he's this horrible guy is just like him acting creepy. Like, he has to just act a little bit unsettling. There's not really. He
does a good job of that. Like, he's got these. He can make his eyes kind of go black and shark-like, you know.
I couldn't decide if he was doing a great job. So like, there were parts where he was like, the cat, what's his name? Cooper. Yeah. Cooper is pretending to not be a serial killer, right? As in, Josh Hartnett is acting as like he.
Yeah. It's a double layer of acting.
Yeah. And so I'm like, is Josh Hartnett doing a good job of Cooper being a not very good actor, or is Josh Hartnett just playing this way too on the nose? I couldn't decide.
I kind of get that, because I think that he was probably better at being creepy than he was at being charming, but I think also the character is. Like, autistic's probably the wrong word. Sociopath. Like, he doesn't have emotions. So
maybe he's doing a good job.
Yeah, the charm that he has is like a very thin veneer, because he doesn't really understand emotions or how to be charming. But because he is handsome, that thin veneer of charm has been enough to get him by in life. So when he's not being particularly charming, maybe that's good Josh Hartnett acting. Although if you have to ask,
I couldn't decide.
That might kind of be an answer of its own.
Like, there were just a couple of moments, like, he did this like really creepy smile, and it's like, but like, surely if the Cooper should be better at faking it by now. I don't know. I was like, I can't decide if Josh Hartnett is doing a great job or a terrible job. But then, like, around Josh Hartnett, I think there was a lot of crap acting. Like, I don't know, I thought like the kid was actually pretty good, but then
Riley,
once we were not at the concert, once she was like upset and like that, like figuring out that her dad's a serial killer, I just don't like. She's a kid. I'm not like, that's fine.
I mean, I normally hate.
She was not a great actress. And
like kids, I wasn't. It kind of felt like, again, that's sort of, there's a kind of a stylized M. Night Shyamalan school of acting and dialogue. Where it's kind of heightened, but also it can be heightened in a kind of neutral, flat way. And I feel like this movie was kind of flattened in a lot of the dialogue for whatever reason, but it works for me. And
I also feel like the wife was like, I've seen her in something before. I know that she's like a decent actress, but like, I just felt like she just didn't do a great job of the, like, but then I guess maybe she was doing a great job because she was kind of like.
Yeah, Alison Pill.
Like, I was actually, no, now that I think about it, because like as I was watching it, the part where like Cooper shows up at the house and she knows that he is about to kill her or wants to kill her, and then she's like essentially stalling him, and then decides to have like share the piece of pie or whatever that the kids
drug him.
Whatever. Yeah. So I guess now that I realize, at the time I was like, oh, she's not really acting that well, but actually she was. Again, it was like a double layer of acting, because she was trying to
terrified.
hide. She is scared, but she's also, we don't know that she's about to poison him. Whereas at the time, Yeah, so at the time I think I was being like, oh, this is bad acting, but maybe she was just
her character was nervous.
Yeah, so now I'm wondering if it's actually fine. I don't know.
It's one of those movies that like even though it doesn't feel like on the surface it's like being crazy, it's not abstract or anything. It is one that like you have to kind of sit with in a different or watch it from a different perspective, which I know is not like the intention of movies or whatever. But I know M. Night's got a specific style that really works for me. And I do think also he is like as much as critics don't like him, all his movies make money. Like,
I mean, it's interesting. It's a different premise to every other freaking movie. It's better than Marvel. Sure. Like,
yeah. And I think just with like the not having the gore and everything, I think that's more than an artistic choice. I think it's literally just like he wants his movies to be PG-13. He wants them to be blockbusters as well as they are. Although I don't know if it is PG-13 because there is some horrific stuff in it, but it's not going to get an R rating at least. He wants it to be able to make money. He's making movies for audiences.
Well, actually, it's a very good musical. Like, it's
and
I hate musicals. Like, I don't like musical music.
And like fake music in movies always sucks as well. Like,
yeah, exactly. And so I love Mamma Mia because I love ABBA. So like I'm fine with it. But anytime like where music is like written for the movie, it's usually garbage. And so the music in this is actually good. Like I would listen to that. Like
well, it's the real music from M. Night's daughter. You should listen to her stuff. She's a musician.
But was it written for the movie?
I think she wrote it for the movie, but she makes other music as well.
Yeah, okay. Look, I think
it was they worked together on it.
I didn't expect her to have as big of a part in the movie. I thought she was just going to be like on the stage.
No, she's like the second main character.
Yeah, which I didn't love. I feel like, I mean, she did fine. But
I thought she was good.
It was just, look, it was very like, it was just nepotism, and that's fine. Was M. Night in it? Was he?
Yeah, he was
playing the uncle. Yeah, okay, I thought so because I was like, I recognize that guy. I'm pretty sure that's him.
Yeah, he does it in every movie, and he kind of gets more bold with every movie where he puts himself in a scene. Dude. Yeah, he's good, isn't he? Yeah,
he's a good actor.
Well, I think he started as like a writer, director, actor, like in his first movie, which I haven't seen. I think he plays the lead, but it's very hard to find that movie. It's like super low budget and wasn't ever released officially. Right. So I might still be able to find it. I'm doing a pretty good job of finding very lost media almost. So that's definitely one to find. But yeah, he was an actor, kind of.
Yeah, well, he was pretty good in it.
And I get he's better than fucking Tarantino when he puts himself in movies. And I get the temptation. Like, if I was going to write and direct a movie, I would 100% myself, for sure. I mean, I think every writer also kind of wants to be an actor as well. Like, every movie writer. There's something about acting being the star that's cool. It's kind of like...
Yeah, it's kind of like in Twilight, how Stephanie Meyer puts herself in every movie.
Yeah, that's different.
We should do Twilight on the podcast.
Just force me to. All right, I'll do it. Because I remember the first one being all right, but then
honestly, Twilight is a decent movie. The rest of them are garbage, hot garbage. But
the first one's like a real one, and then if you've seen, Tim and I have done the wild card episodes where it's movies that are like so bad that they're good.
Yeah.
But you have to watch that together in the same room, like share.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of talking about Trap.
And I feel like I've forgotten some of my complaints about it, but yeah, I haven't convinced. No, I'm not. No, you haven't convinced me.
What would you give it out of 10 then?
Out of 10, probably like like I would never watch it again, but I was entertained and intrigued. So like, can I give half stars?
You can give a half star.
6.5.
All right, that's not too bad. That's pretty high considering mainly complaints. Although,
okay, I'm a generous scorer, I think.
You said you had a lot of complaints, but then like everything I brought up, you're like, no, I did love that part. So
kind
6.5 seems fair.
What are you giving it?
I gave it like an 8, and it's probably going to go up on a rewatch, to be honest, because, like I said, I was kind of perturbed halfway through and wasn't sure if I was liking it at all. And so now knowing the full arc of the movie, I think I probably will like it a lot more.
Fair.
So I said 8. Yeah, 8.
Mm.
Okay, well, that was Trap. Definitely check it out. I mean, hopefully you've already checked it out because we just the whole plot. And now we're going to talk about another movie that just came out. So, like it's not a horrible year for cinema so far. And here's one that you can kind of recommend to anybody. It's like a good new movie. It's an easy watch in some ways and just has a bit of mass appeal, I think, in the sense that it's like a serious adult movie that like parents can watch together. And grandparents even. It's got some like social issues in it.
Yeah.
And also it's like tense. It's a thriller. It's just Rebel Ridge on Netflix. New crime thriller. I don't think I've seen any of the director's films before. Jeremy Saulnier. Yeah, Murder Party, Blue Ruin, Green Room, and Hold the Dark. Haven't seen any of them, but I will check them out now because I liked Rebel Ridge quite a bit.
Yeah, me too.
First 2 points I will mention are Aaron Pierre, the lead, is really, really great. He was
I
in.
thought you were going to say he's really, really handsome because
He's incredibly handsome. Holy shit! Pisses me off that he is 30 years old. He is my age.
Oh,
he looks
great.
like my dad.
He, if he's 30, he's so handsome that he's probably not straight.
Yeah, you kind of do get that. His body, his rips,
Yeah, any attractive,
trim.
ripped man, I'm like, he's unfortunately not going to be interested in me.
But let's not stereotype. He may be.
He may be
He's
straight.
got beautiful blue eyes. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
He was really great. This is like a star-making performance for him. Like,
Yeah, he was
actually in. I didn't even recognize that he was. I don't know. Have you seen the movie Old, which is another M. Night Shyamalan movie?
No.
Came out recently. He plays a rapper called Mid-Sized Sedan.
Oh, great
Yeah, right.
name.
And I didn't notice that it was the same guy, but I found that out after.
Right.
Anyway, but this movie, like just on its own, his performance in this is like that's an action star, and not just that. He's this real star, and it was going to be John Boyega, Finn from Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
But he walked out of the movie for some reason, but all things
Is he
that are meant to
too
be
good for Netflix, maybe?
Well, no, because he did another Netflix movie right after. Like,
okay.
Maybe some issues with the script. I kind of read some rumors online, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, okay.
I really like John Boyega. He was in another movie called They Cloned Tyrone, which came out last year, which is a similar.
I've only seen him in Star Wars.
Well, he's very, very good in other movies, and he plays like a convincing badass in They Cloned Tyrone. So I think he would have worked here, but no problem because
glad it didn't work out because this guy was brilliant.
Awesome, and it means that now there will be more Aaron Pierre movies to watch. He was, everybody's loving him.
Hopefully he doesn't now just like do what
franchises
and jump ship and just go franchises.
Now he's in Fantastic Beasts 4 and you're like, what the fuck, Aaron? And the second bit was Don Johnson is again he's a great actor. He was the sheriff.
Yeah, he was good in this.
And Dakota Johnson's father, I'm pretty sure, which I love both of them. Like,
that's heaps random.
Well, they got the same last name, so it's pretty.
No, yeah, that's actually the opposite of random. I just know that her stepdad is Antonio Banderas, so I just like.
Oh,
that
really?
That fact is so much cooler. So I've just never known about who her dad was.
Well, yeah, he's also great as as the evil sheriff. And anyway, so this movie is it's surprising for a major motion picture to just be like the thesis of the movie is that cops are pigs.
Yeah.
And they all suck.
Yeah.
They're all evil. And the justice system is inherently rigged against people. And only the cops are portrayed as like a mafia in this town.
Yeah.
They've got like an iron chokehold on the town. And the justice system just supports them. Like people are like looking over their shoulders. They're whispering to each other about the happenings of the town because they don't want to be heard by the mafia who have ears everywhere and will just fucking kill them.
Yeah.
Which is just like, that's crazy for like a major Hollywood kind of, I know it's Netflix, but still, it's interesting.
Yeah, and like from the very start, like from the opening scene.
It's the whole,
Yeah, he's like on his bike and then straight away you're like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah, like and that opening scene is perfect. It just sets
it is.
So well. It doesn't like pull any punches. It's just
like you're so angry immediately.
So frustrated. And it's so believable. Like you've seen it many times.
Yeah, it's almost it's like it's like it's not like a
it's like a body cam video that you've seen on like 5 leaks or something.
It doesn't that scene doesn't go where it could go, but
for sure. But only because of the character's attitude of like of the way he deals with the cops. Like he manages the police so that they don't fucking kill him.
To an extent, I think that like their goal was something else. The movie is not about directly about like just cops killing black innocent civilians. The movie it's more about the it's
conspiracy.
It's like the money is the plot point at the start, not.
But also, like, it's more like coincidental stuff. It's like the cases where the cops are doing the wrong and happen to kind of get the money as well.
Yeah.
Because like they don't know that he's got the $36,000 on him. They're just being dickhead cops.
Right. No, that's because they're just trying to. Yeah. Actually, no, that hadn't occurred to me. That they were just trying to turn him into another one of those cases.
Yeah, or like it's not even that they were trying to.
But like they think that they're going to get him on some misdemeanor charge, right? No, they're going to pin a misdemeanor charge on him. How do they? Why? Yeah,
well, I think the misdemeanor charges happen with like it's the cases where the cops do the wrong thing, and but then there's an opportunity for them to like do the civil asset forfeiture thing and steal money. So like they're not like, I mean, I'm sure they are, but they're not necessarily going out to cause these cases to occur. But when they do, so like the cousin, so all the cases are just like cases where the cops would get sued if it got outside of like the local court system. So they knock them down to misdemeanor to keep them in the local court system because they're instances of the cops doing like brutality or whatever.
But isn't that they each time they're trying to, it's the what did you call it? the
civil asset but yeah, it is also that so like I think it's like those things are happening, like the brutality, and then also when it does happen. So I'm sure they're leaning into
it's all of the above. They're just
all of the above.
They're horrific racist pigs who are also trying to get money.
And the reason that they're trying to get the money is because they were defunded essentially for being racist dickhead cops, and then they were given the opportunity to reform the police force.
Right. That's
but then they didn't have any money or whatever to reform it. So they start like stealing people's money through civil asset forfeiture. And it's like, in the first month after that, they steal like $100,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it is just like they're racist racist, but like dickhead.
Yeah, because why else would they target someone that's on a bike? Like it's not like
that's right.
He can't be carrying that much. No, although he just happens to be.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't targeting him. They were just like drunk with power, just cops being dickheads. Like he had his earphones in. He wanted to pull him over. Because it's a black guy in the 100%,
South. Yeah.
Like not being suspicious, but riding his bike on the road. And the police officer just wanted to be a dickhead, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it just happened to be that he had the 36K on him.
Yeah.
So like that's the spoilers of the movie. I mean, I don't think what we just said made any fucking sense whatsoever. And the movie's kind of hard to like track the conspiracy and everything anyway. That's just, you kind of go along with the movie. Like that's my only like minor complaint really, is that the criminal, like the backstory and everything that's going on is kind of complex and hard to follow for some of the movie. Yeah. Did you find that?
Yeah, there was like a part. What part was it? There was like literally one part where they explained what was happening. Is it when they were talking to the judge? Maybe.
Yeah, James Cromwell just shows up like 2/3.
No idea who that is.
Great actor, and he's 84, man. But he still just keeps showing up. Like I thought he was gone years ago, but he just keeps showing up. He was in Succession.
Right.
recently. He's a great actor. Anyway,
Okay.
it was a real treat.
I think it was with him. I think they explained it. One of them explained it, and then one of them repeats it back. I was like, "Thank you for repeating it," because I wasn't following.
But wait a minute, you're saying that?
Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes exposition is necessary
Yeah.
when it is, but it's kind of like it unfolds almost like a book, like a crime thriller novel, where it does take that level.
I didn't know
of
where it was
explanation.
going. Yeah. I really enjoyed the way it unfolded, like the way that you just because like obviously like you get to the when he's explaining the acronym PACE or whatever.
That's so cool.
That's a sick scene because I was like, okay, great, now we know everything. Like I was kind of wondering where this was going. It suddenly makes sense why he's completely jacked. Like
yeah. That's a great line where she's like, he's on the Wikipedia.
He's on the Wikipedia. That was so good.
Yeah, and I see that's one of the things about the movie. It kind of goes against a lot of tropes that I was expecting. I'm like, okay, this is just going to be First Blood remake. You know, the first Rambo movie, probably haven't seen, but the first Rambo movie, it's like it's him. It's just like a Vietnam veteran. He's like a homeless guy now. He's walking through a town. The police start harassing him, and then he kind of like he just wants to be left alone. But then he kind of like goes on. He has to like fuck with them because they're fucking with him. So he kind of has to fight against them because they won't leave him alone. And he was like the coolest badass, the like most dangerous soldier ever in Vietnam. Whereas this guy has never been to war. He's like a martial arts trainer with them.
I was going to say, yeah, that's right. Yeah. He didn't
Never deployed.
Serve. Yeah.
He's not like necessarily like a killing machine. And this movie, the trailer is kind of misleading and the setup's kind of misleading. You think it's kind of going to be a John Wick ripoff, maybe, where he just like kills like 50 cops. Yeah. And I don't think there's not a single kill in the movie. His whole thing is to like try to de-escalate, try to like it keeps the movie grounded in a way that if he killed one cop, the movie doesn't make sense in reality. It's no longer... The only options if he kills a cop is for him to die or go to prison forever. There's no like potential happy ending or whatever. Like you can't, unfortunately, you can't kill a cop without getting in a lot of trouble or dying. So the fact that the movie keeps it relatively grounded by like not having him kill the cops, I think was probably a smart move and keeps the tension really high because killing is not an option for him. And he's in moments where really killing people would be the much easier option for him to survive.
Yeah. What, did no one die? I thought
broken arm. Does some damage.
Eyes like, get shoved in.
No, what? Nobody's eyes get shoved in.
Did I watch something else violent last night as well?
I don't think anybody's eyes get shoved in. I mean, I watched it as well, only like a couple days ago.
Maybe not. No,
You might be thinking of something else. But I mean, there is violence.
There is a part where,
somebody's face gets punched in pretty bad, but then that's
okay. I think I may be conflating two things because he does punch in the guy's face, and I did think he might have been dead, but then he gets up.
Yeah, then he's still alive.
And also,
I thought so too. I was like, there's the first kill.
The lady that's helping him, she shoves the guy via his face. Maybe that's what I was confusing.
You put two, yeah.
Maybe I had a really bad dream after I watched this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it has the potential because it is still quite violent. Like it has like this was
more violent than Trap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. While still being, like a different kind of movie to John Wick or whatever, where it's and that isn't John Wick isn't really satisfying to me anymore. And we've seen so many of these revenge action movies over the last few years. Like you got all these rip-offs now as well, like The Beekeeper.
We haven't.
We, as in general audiences, Hollywood.
I have not.
Hollywood has been producing this shit, but this was refreshing. This was a different take on the revenge thriller. Yeah. And look, at the end, some people might say that it pulls a couple of punches in terms of the thesis that all cops are pigs. I think you could look at it that way, where like the cops at the end decide to help him out and they're kind of heroic in a way. or you could look at it in the sense that like when the guy from The Office, the one who gets shot in the leg, he's Pam's husband in The Office. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
He turns on the cops first. He's like, "Look, we can't do this, guys." He's like, "We're sworn officers," and then the sheriff shoots him.
Wait, are they married?
As in The Office. Remember?
Oh,
before. Before
back.
Jim and Pam get together, she's.
I thought you were just. I thought I just missed the.
Who's married in your mind?
Well, because in the female cop, because like
you thought I meant The Office, like the sheriff's office, like the police.
Yes. Yes.
I'm talking about the television show The Office. Jim and Pam. Her first fiance is Roy, who works in the warehouse downstairs, and he plays the cop
guy
who gets shot in the leg.
Okay.
Confusion. Yeah.
I did not connect that.
Sorry, that's my fault. I just said The Office without the context of it being not. I'm no longer talking about this.
And like
there
was a photo on her desk of her and a white guy that was clearly her husband. So I was like, I guess she's married to that cop.
No.
Because in my head, I had because like when. What is the main guy's name?
Well, Aaron.
Terry?
Terry? Yeah.
When Terry first gives his report to her, she, you kind of expect that she is going to do the right thing, and she obviously doesn't. She immediately is on the like
cop side. Fuck her.
The corrupt side, yeah.
Which I like, because you expect, like, oh, yeah, she's going to be the good cop. She's the only woman, the only black person on the...
Yeah.
But no, because, they're all bad. Even if they are, like, black and a woman, they're still bad. Yeah. They're cops.
Well, I feel like it's maybe more that she doesn't have power to... She's like, that's where she works. She doesn't have power to, like...
I mean, fuck that. Like, the Nazis, that's where they worked. It's like, you still have to be... The cops are Nazis. They're fascists. It's the same thing. Like, you have to be, like, even if you work there, say you do end up...
a really funny way of putting it.
It's right. Like, if you are a cop, which you shouldn't be, but if you are a cop, at the first opportunity, at the first, like, instance of there being, like, corruption and, like, evil, you have to just turn against it, or you're part of the problem of evil.
Correct.
That's the whole point of, like, the whole bad apples analogy. It's not that there are just a few bad apples, because the saying is a few bad apples spoil the bunch. Like, it's not that the apples are separate. The bad apples make everybody culpable. So you have to get out of the basket. You have to become a banana. She's losing fucking track, but you know what I mean? It's bad. And anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point being, so that at the end of the movie, when the cops do turn, good side, it's you could read it more rather than them being heroic in any way. You can just read that as them kind of being cowardly and realizing, okay, well, this has gone too far and we're all going to get done. So we're turning on the sheriff and his deputy buddy and kind of trying to minimize the damage as much as possible. Because, it is going a bit far when you got to kill an unarmed lady and a cop. Was like a suspect. Like, they're happy to kill a suspect, a black guy.
Yeah.
But an unarmed white woman and a fellow cop, then they're like, no, that's too far. We can't do that. So it's not necessarily pulling any punches. It's not giving the cops any credit. It's you could read it in either way. It depends how generous you want to be to the movie, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think on a very surface level, they're just kind of being like, well, like a couple of them are okay.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe, but I don't like the idea.
I feel like they're just kind of covering themselves, being like, "See, we're not saying that cops are purely evil."
I do worry that that's what the movie was doing, and that it's maybe a studio note, or even maybe the director himself kind of giving himself a little bit of insurance against, because you don't want the movie to be co-opted by right-wing people who then hate it and talk about how woke the movie is and kind of ruin its chances of... Which is probably going to happen anyway. So far, I haven't seen any of that. I'm sure... And the test is kind of whether Joe Rogan likes it, and I have a feeling Joe Rogan's going to like it. Like, it's not too woke, and it would be too woke if there there was not any good moments for the cops. So look, that's the thing. It depends on. I worry that they were kind of trying to be nice to cops at the end there, but I'm choosing to believe that it is just as critical of the police, and it's just them it's like the cops in the movie are covering their asses in a way.
They're just going for whichever is the winning team.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, and also like not wanting to kill a police officer and a white woman, but having to kill a black guy, which is just as bad as like, I mean, they were happy to drug the white woman who was a drug addict. They're not that. Like, I mean, they were pretty happy to. And that's the thing. The rest of the movie's so anti-cop and so like firm that I kind of find it hard to, because even if they are trying to, be nice to cops in the final moments, it's like, why would you do that when the rest of your movie is like, these guys all deserve to go to hell. Yeah,
I feel like they like during that kind of like final showdown when they have drugged her again. They're really not like, they're pretty happy to let her be in the firing line. Like, I feel like they're all pretty much ready to kill her. So I don't know that if they're doing anything at the end, I feel like they don't really care about her. They just care about not killing their colleague.
Their buddy. And that's believable. Yeah, totally believable. Like, cops. Just like, it's like the thin blue line thing. Like, we're going to be buddies and they will protect each other at the cost of anybody else.
Yeah.
Which is, again, that's a critique of the police system. So I think if you're, because I've seen some people complain about the ending, and I just think the movie's so anti-cop like that. It's just, it's unlikely that it's going to be pro-cop in its final second for no reason. And I think you just have to take.
I just think it is a little bit. It just has to be. It's a little bit like at the end. It's like,
maybe it is.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Yeah.
But I don't want that to be the end of the discussion of the movie, because overall the movie is like, it has like a very controversial and accurate and not often seen perspective on the police force. I mean, we used to get these movies like in the 90s and stuff when there was there were like different corruption issues in the US, like the Rampart case in the LA police force, like fully corrupts, like drug dealing and murdering and acting like a gang and everything. You got the TV shows like The Shield, those kind of things, which we just don't seem to get as much anymore. Like, so it is nice to see a movie where the good guy is like fucking up police officers, because we don't often get to see the good guy fuck up police officers.
Yeah. One thing I will say, I did like that I didn't ever really know where it was going. Like, first of all, when like you obviously have the two cops at the start, and then when Terry does his report, you've got the female cop plus what's his name? Don Johnson. Mm-hmm. So that's like two more where you're like, okay, there's a chance for someone to like not be a total piece of shit here, and then they're pieces of shit. And then like they kind of strike their deal, and then they obviously like backflip on the deal. But then like when Terry comes in and he's like a total badass, they're kind of like, oh, okay, like maybe. Yeah,
I think we need to note how badass he is. Like, how cool he is and how he like action star shit. Like my like obviously lots of people have seen it, but the line where he's like, I was thinking about what you said about de-escalation. Don Johnson's like, now you're talking sense, and he's like, and then I thought, no.
I like that bit.
Thrown right away.
But like, I like that like Terry shows that he's got power, and you can see Don Johnson's character getting like uncomfortable, and then like it just keeps like there's this like weird little like cat and mouse thing where you're like, who has the power, who's going to come out on top. And like I like the part where like they take him in the car to the hospital, and they have that conversation, and you're like, okay, so like Terry's got the power, like Terry's in control, and then his cousin dies, and you're like, fuck. Like,
and then you're like, is he going to go fucking crazy now?
Yeah.
I love the scene when he breaks into the vault to get the money for his like breaks into the police station and that's when you get the pace scene and like he's going between the two officers, like punch one in the stomach, knock him down, grab the other one. Then by the time the other guys come back up, he punches the first guy and goes and gets the other guy.
Yeah.
And then he breaks into the station and he's like the whole most of the movie I'm thinking he's about to get killed at any second. Or like it's about to go too far and the police are going to get killed and it just holds. It's a tightrope walk for the whole movie and it is a little long, but it didn't really feel long. It felt like nice.
Yeah, no, it felt like the right amount of time. Like it felt like I didn't have any problem with the pacing. I wasn't like I'm bored. Like I was gripped for the whole time.
Way.
But I really liked that you just didn't know how it was going to turn out. Like you didn't know who was going to come out on top. And like in that way, I feel like the ending is really satisfying because it's like even though he like lost stuff on the way and you don't even like maybe one of them's going to like, the chick might die. Like you don't know. It's kind of left. She's not going to die. It was just an overdose. But like the just like not know and like the cousin dies. But like it's nice that like spoiler like the cops are clearly gonna
go to jail.
And exactly.
And because they were so like evilly corrupt that he's kind of going to get away with it all as well.
Exactly. It's like, well, he's like, he kind of got himself like his first thing at the first time he like attacks the station, and like when he goes and takes the bail money and he's like, he knows that he's about to get arrested because he's just like fucked up the whole station, and you're kind of just like, oh, like is he actually going to go to jail? Like it's very. I was like hooked the whole time, just trying to be like, oh, how is this going to end? Yeah. I also like one thing that like I had just watched Trap where I was like, it's annoying how he keeps getting away with things. Like he just has like so much good luck, and then in this one I was kind of like, oh my god, they have the worst luck. Like
he's just competent.
Yeah, everything that could go wrong goes wrong.
And then he's like, I ran out of plan, but he still keeps improvising. I did feel like they did run into a lot of bad luck, but it keeps the plot going. I had no idea why anything was happening to begin with and throughout the whole movie. And I do like the way, it doled it out over the length of the film. And by the end, you're like, I guess that all made sense and it could only go that way, which is good. Like you don't want to end a movie like, that was annoying, could have gone this way, could have done this. It felt like, rather than like, plotted by a writer, it was just the natural unfolding of events. And it just starts and goes and kind of doesn't rest the whole movie as well. The pacing is so tight. The editing was sublime. And I feel like I'm so used to like garbage, just like jump Netflix movies.
That like I was just expecting this to all wrap up with like that, like there was going to be a romantic subplot and they were going to like start like because they kind of go on the run essentially, like briefly. And I was like, oh cool, so now they're just going to like
Bonnie and Clyde
fall in love, and I'm just like, I'd be so annoyed if that's how it went, and it didn't. So I'm like,
there was really no romance there at all, which is great. They were like friends more than anything. Yeah,
which I liked. Like he like, I don't know, just like instantly invested, and like when, as soon as she like called for him when she gets drugged, he does just like, he's like, fuck yeah, I'm coming. But it was more like
she helped him to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like he was returning the favor.
Yeah, and she's a drug addict who lost her kid. I mean, like it's implied through like being high around the child in like a potentially dangerous situation. So it does go against a lot of expectations. It's very cool for doing so. It's like it's an interesting movie. Yeah.
So okay. What do you rate it?
I gave it like an 8. I thought maybe a 9. Mm-hmm. The kind of ending where I was like, I'm not sure if it's being a little pro-cop there, and kind of like undermining its own message does take away that extra like half a star. So it's between 8 and 9. It's 8 if that last bit is a bit of a pro-cop thing. 9 if it's holding firm in its thesis. Yeah.
I would probably give it an 8.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.